everyone, it is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into the Bad Side Zodiac collection from Mented Cosmetics. I do have all four. This was just the first one that's sitting up here because of course it's my sign, which is water signs. Scorpio here, how you doing? So I hope you bought a snack, girl, because we got a whole bunch of comparisons to do. Y'all know me, I got a million comparisons that I gotta do. So I got all four of the palettes, of course, because I have to have all of them. Plus I just love Melt, so it was another reason for me. They're actually sold out right now, so I hope y'all grab them when I posted it on Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, on my community page, because as soon as they dropped, honey, I was sharing it. So I don't think they have one for each sign. Oh yeah, they do have something to read for each side. It says a collection of mini eyeshadow palettes inspired by the negative traits of the four zodiac elements: fire, earth, air, and water. So let's get in touch with the dark side of astrology with these mini eyeshadow palettes that have an array of creamy mattes and metallic shimmers, all inspired by the negative traits of the four elements of the zodiac. Create endless, rich, and sultry eye looks to satisfy your every mood. Your weakness is also your greatest strength. So we're going to start off with my sign, which is the water, even though they put mine dead last. Everybody likes to disrespect Scorpios. I don't know what their problem is, but keep it to yourself. No. The water palette was inspired by the refreshing beach waves and depths of the ocean, not your uncontrollable tears. Apparently they think we have uncontrollable tears. I don't know. There are other signs that are with my sign though, so maybe they're talking about them. I don't feel like Scorpios have that. Maybe Cancers and Pisces do. I don't know much about those signs. Next we're going to go into the Earth. The Earth palette contains 8 shades with a foundation of slush green hues, terracottas, and some rich jewel tones, just in case you're feeling greedy. The strong color story is practical and effective, so earth signs can finally relax. So I guess they're supposed to be overthinkers or something. I don't know much about any of the signs that aren't mine. I know other signs because of birthdays of people I know, but just in general, I don't know, girl. Now let's get into the air. The air palette features a balanced mixture of breezy sunset tones and spacey berry hues that will keep you interested. Don't overthink it. Last, we have the fire signs. The fire palette contains 8 shades of blazing hot tones that perfectly match your feisty flair, or is it fair? This color story is pure fire. Be careful not to get burnt. Okay. So that's them. They each retail for $38. So this cost me a good grip, but I'm glad I got them when I did, because the Sephora sale starts today and they've already been sold out. I think like the day after they came out, they sold out. So I'm glad I got my hands on it when I did. Now let's get, oh good lord, did this break again? Or is it, oh no, it's from that first time it broke. So let me start off with the water palette. Now I'm gonna show you my blueprint palette, the one I remade, but I remade mine, so just keep that in mind, so it's not gonna look the way it should. But to me this looks like about right, and I really like the color story of it. So let's start off with all the Melt stuff and then we'll get into the other brands, because I only have like 2 or 3 other brands, because since this isn't like an actual monochromatic palette, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. So here is the blueprint I remade alongside the, what is this, water palette. So as you can see, I just took all the gray and silvery shades out of Millennial Pinks and put it in here. That's literally all I did with this palette. And I like it. I like the way I redid my Millennial Pinks. You all recently saw a look that I did with my redone Millennial Pinks. So to me, the blueprint is just like a warmer version of this palette. But God, this has been breaking up. I don't even know how, because I don't touch this. I don't bother this. I don't even go in the drawer where it is. So how it got like this, who knows? But I'm gonna try to hold it. Stacks like to, you know, break apart from each other and be a hot mess. But this is what it looks like. See, to me, the blueprint is just like a cool version. This is a cool version of the blueprint palette, my personal opinion. That's how I look at it. You can let me know down below what you think. But yeah, so I definitely feel like this could be a main chick, side chick if I put the palette back where it was supposed to. Me being me, I'm probably not going to, and I would just have to sit here and hold the stack again. But I could definitely do a main chick, side chick, or 5 brands they do themselves with this, because it's like you just made a warm tone, a cool tone version of a blue palette. Yeah, this is going in the brands that do themselves after, you know, we get done with this video. And inside the palette it says, stop crying, it's not that deep. Okay. again, I don't know where they got that from, so, you know, other than other parts of Zodiac, I just don't feel like we do that, Scorpios. But then again, I could just be biased because, you know, I'm a Scorpio. Next, let's move on to the Petite Four palette, because since I thought it was going to be like, you know, the blueprint stack, and in a way it kind of is in my personal opinion. From what we just saw, I brought this palette to show. Oh no, don't dig into it like this. So here's what they look like, and as you can see, to me this is kind of like a mini version of this. I should have bought the blue palette that came from ColourPop too, because I have a blue one that has like browns and blue in it. So I'll probably bring that. I'll show that in a reel on Instagram over the weekend, because y'all know I'm gonna put all my reels up, and each day I'm gonna try to put one up of each zodiac sign. But this is what they look like side by side. See, we already at 5 minutes. I ain't even showing all the blue palettes, girl. I told you, better grab a snack, better grab a snack, better grab a snack, but this is gonna be a long ass thing. Next, I have Blue Moon. So y'all know I love blue palettes, so I have a lot of blues. Obviously these don't have anything in common pretty much, so we won't take too much time on those. Maybe I shouldn't show these, because that way it's wasting time when, you know, they don't really match. But, you know, they already here and we here. Y'all know how I am. I'm here, we're here, we're all here. We're just going to show it. So, I'm going to show it because we all here. There you go. So, this is On Cloud Blue. As you can see, On Cloud Blue and Blue Moon don't match either one of these. I thought they would match better, but they don't. So, you know, there's that. Now, I can pack all this cute little stuff up and go. I'm sorry, and take it home. I was going to say go home. I can't go home till we do the other three. And it's like 3:30 in the morning now. Sorry, almost 4 in the morning now. And I've only got through one palette. But I had to do the Pat McGrath one too. And I'm hoping my Kaleido stuff comes tomorrow, so then I can just film all 4 of these together. Now we're going to move on to Earth Girl. So Earth, y'all know Melt loves them some blue. So I got like 3 Melt palettes just sitting here with just blue. I'm sorry, with green in them. One thing they love is green. Whether it's just because they got a weed collection coming out that year, or because like the Geminis are green. It's like everything is green. So, and the funny thing is Gemini isn't even a part of the earth signs, but they made the Gemini palette green. But I'm assuming it's because the person that they made it for, whichever co-owner it was, likes the color green. But here's what Earth is looking like on the inside. She looks real cute here. I actually really like the color story of this one as well. It kind of reminds me of the Heather Austin palette, so I'll show that one in a second to you all. But this is the Glam Light Veggie Lovers up against this palette. So as you can see, it's definitely giving vibes of this palette. In my personal opinion. Tell me what you think down below, but I got that one. That was the one that's sitting on top because it was awkwardly shaped, because normally I would have shown the Melt ones first, but since it's literally sitting at the very top, I just went ahead. And you can see the color stories are quite similar. Now we're going to get into Gemini. So this is Gemini alongside the palette. Like I told y'all, they really love green, and apparently they really love these like neutral shades to go with green, because this is looking a lot similar too. But I feel like 420 would probably look closer to this than that one, because the 420 at least has the yellows to go along with it. Now please keep in mind, I did change around my 420, so you know, there's that. So just be advised. I had an old Gemini palette, so I took some of the shades from my old Gemini palette. I took some of the shades from the brunette palette, and then I think I took some of the shades from Blueprint to recreate my palette. But as you can see, it's definitely giving vibes of this again, because you got these bright yellows, you got the bright greens, you got some green, and then you got like this deeper shade, because all the ones with the chronic leaf on them are originally from this palette. As you can see, there's a lot of neutral in there as well. You just don't get like this darker green you see here, but a lot of these tones are similar as well. So I still can't see it as a 5 brands that dupe themselves, but I still feel like they're definitely giving similarities. Now this one doesn't necessarily match it that well, but since I had it and it was available, I figured I'd show both of them. So here is Smoke Session. Now this is one of my all-time favorite Melt palettes. It has more golds instead of yellows, and it doesn't have that aubergine shade, but otherwise I feel like it could be pretty similar as well. Like if they change that aubergine shade to like this deeper shade, and then you got that lighter shade, I feel like they would be pretty similar as well. Melt just love their greens. Now the rest of these greens aren't going to necessarily match, but again, they're here, we're here, and I already pulled this stuff out, so we're going to look at it. Amen? Amen. Okay, so here are they side by side. This is Wealthy Chic from Colored Rain. As you can see, they are not similar at all. If anything, I feel like this would be closer to the 420 palette I just showed, based upon that really bright, interesting green in there. Then I have Just My Luck. Now I recreated my Just My Luck. If you all remember, I put in shades from Meant to Be in here, so it doesn't look the way it's supposed to, but they're still not exact. If anything, this would be closer to the what's that palette? Smoke Sessions palette. I remade it to look like an affordable version of Smoke Sessions with like a pop-up, I guess, minty color, like a deeper green minty. And then we have the Beauty Bay Earthy palette. If y'all remember, I did like videos of all three of these. So it has lots of greens, but I still don't feel like it's similar to this. Getting these in person gave me a totally different view on them versus how they looked when I saw them online. So that was the interesting part to me. Now we're going to move on to the Air palette. So we'll do Air, and then we'll do, what do you call it, Fire last, and then I will come up with eye looks for each one. So I told y'all, grab a snack, girl. This is about to be a long video. On to Air. So I actually didn't have that many palettes to compare to Air once I actually saw it in person. Now, one of the shades in my Air palette did break, unfortunately, and I can't like return it or exchange it, obviously, because, you know, I told y'all it sold out. So this shade right here called, what is this, Frivolously, this one, it like broke. So I'm gonna try to hold it a certain way so that way, you know, it doesn't, because I literally got these out the mailbox and just brought them with me. So I have this Lavigne palette, and this is what they look like side by side. As you can see, there's a lot of purples in here, but I feel like it's like a row of like baby girl, and Angie said it best herself. She said it was like they put the baby girl palette with the what is it, the She's and Parties palette, and it had a baby, and that's what this came out with. And I was like, that's the perfect thought, because that was my thought when I saw it. I was like, it's like you mix two of your favorite palettes together. So here it is along Violet. I forget that's how you say it. And I gotta pull these purple palettes back because they have to go up against the quads for, what do you call that brand? Collab. So now we go on to Flight Club. So I feel like this one is a little bit closer just because of the tones of mauve and stuff they use. So I feel like this could be a good like main chick, side chick type palette for this. It's just an expansion of this palette right here and doesn't have as many of the Corby shades. So keep that in mind. If you have Flight Club, you might not necessarily want to invest in this. And put that to the side for a main chick, side chick thing. And then of course I have the She's and Parties. To me this is just more like the bottom row would be of She's and Parties, and you know, just be an extension to add on and use with this palette. So this could be like a companion palette to the She's and Parties one for when you want some lighter tones, because I feel like She's and Parties is awfully dark, and if you're not into a lot of dark shades, you might not be interested in it. I actually wasn't like super excited about having it. If you all remember, I told you. Next I have Pretty Chic from Colored Rain. Again, this isn't really matching too closely, because I feel like the tones they picked are much brighter than the ones in here, but it could be a good companion palette. Like if you want some deeper tones out of here and you want to use the bright mattes in here to go with this, because I feel like these are kind of muted for someone with my skin tone. I feel like I would pair this with this palette. So it could be a good companion palette for this palette. I like to show y'all companion palettes in addition to actual palettes that I feel like look similar if you all are new. Next, I have the Cotton Candy palette from BH alongside this palette. Again, I felt like this might be a good palette, but now seeing them in person together, it's not, you know, giving what I thought it was giving initially, but I wanted to pack everything up because I was going off pictures. I didn't have it in hand, and I wanted to make sure this was here because I knew it wasn't going to come to the end of the week, and I wanted to be prepared to at least have this part done so that when I come on Friday, I can film some of these at night, then I can film the other ones in the morning. I can get everything done that way. So last, I have the Berries palette, again from Beauty Bay. I feel like this would be a good companion palette for the top row, because I feel like, again, it's not giving what it could give for someone with my skin tone. If I add some of the mattes in here, I feel like it would do a better job. But I would just pair this palette with the Flight Club like I told y'all about. But I want to bring a variety for the top shades and the bottom shades, so that's what we got going on with all this. Okay, now let's get into the last one, which is the Fire. And then I'll finally go do some looks. So I'm trying to decide if I should do one look on each eye to like save us some time, or if I want to, you know, do that or not. Into the Fire. I don't have that many palettes to compare to the Fire just because, you know, it's a warm tone palette and we know I don't do warm tones. So there's that. So here's the inside of it. I forgot to read the inside of the rest of them. It says, for the main character you think you are. Like, okay. So I read the one inside mine, and I read this one inside the last one. So I'll read the ones in the middle as we're doing the eye look, I guess. My bad. I'm sorry, y'all. The first one I brought was Joya from Natasha Denona to compare to this palette. I have a couple of older milk palettes too. But see what I'm saying? Like, It's just a classic warm tone reddish like yellow orange palette. To me, it's not anything special. I only got it to like round off the collection and let you all know, because I know lots of people prefer warm tones over cool tones. I'm the weirdo who wants the cool tones, and you know, I'm fine with being the weirdo who wants the cool tones. That's what I like. Next, I have Juvia's Place. What is this? The Bronze Rustic. So here's what they look like side by side. Again, I feel like this could be a good companion palette, because I feel like the colors in here might show up on me a little more pigmented than these. I don't know, because I haven't put them on my eyes, so I can't say for sure, but I just brought it to show. I should have brought the Natasha Denona mini, what was it, mini bronze palette? I forgot to bring that. See, I forgot to bring a couple of palettes with me, but I'm going home tonight and taking all this stuff home, because maybe I'll remember to bring some in. Next, I have the BH Cosmetics Party in Puerto Rico palette. Alongside this one, this would be a great companion palette to go with this palette, because I feel like they're giving off the same color story. And you know, I don't think the formula of this is as good as their other palettes though, so FYI if you were interested in picking this up. I don't think the formula of this is good. The Paris one is good, this one is not, but that's what they look like side by side. This could be just be another companion palette though, like I said, because it's just giving an extension of the shades that you're missing in this palette. Oh y'all, I have so many palettes are falling over on top of each other in this pile on the floor. Last, I have the Sunrise palette from Natasha Denona alongside this palette. Again, another companion palette we could use, because again, this gives the same type of color story. This is supposed to be a miniature version of her Sunset palette, because warm tones were all the rage for like 100 years. I'm glad they're finally done. So yeah, there's that. The other palettes that I talked about that I wanted to compare, I will bring them with me and try to remember to do them in each video. If not, y'all will get a story on sorry, you'll get a short here on YouTube, and you'll get some reels on my IG. So if you're following Joe Beauty 87 on Instagram, you'll see that stuff there. Let me get into the last few palettes I have. Yes, girl, there are still more palettes to show. Like, I wanted to show how many times they've repeated this color story. I know they had this Impulse palette that they had exclusive to, what do you call them? And Sephora. I think this is when they first got in there. And you see what I'm saying? Another set of warm tone colors and cool tone colors. Like, I feel like all of this up here could be like the Earth palette. Like, to me, this side could be the Earth palette. So let's get the Earth palette out and show it again, because I'm like, I just feel like it could just give the Earth palette, or it could give some of, what's that palette called, or it could give some of like the Fire palette. So it could be like the Fire and the Earth palette combined, because you see what I'm saying? Like, look at these colors. Like, if I hold it down here, to me it just looks like a version of the Earth palette, and then this part looks like it's part of the Fire palette, but this looks like a version of the Earth palette. And then the other side, I feel like it could be a version of the Water palette, because you got to think a lot of those tones look similar to me than in the Water palette. Why do I keep putting these in the box like I'm not gonna put them on my eyes? Girl, I don't know. This is what happens when you try to film before in the morning. See, this, you have struggle bus issues when you try to film before in the morning. Maybe don't do that, but I gotta optimize as much time as I can. So see what I'm saying? Like, or just hold it right here. Now you got the Fire palette and the Impulsive palette. So it's like a lot of it just is a lot of like repeat. But if you're a melt stand like I am, you just go ahead along with it like we do with Pat McGrath. Like, some stuff we just be like, you know what, fine. So next I'm going to show you the Air palette to see if any of the colors in there are similar. Okay, so there aren't any similar colors in the Air palette, in my personal opinion, to be showing. But I am going to show the Water one just to see if those blues and those deeper tones at the bottom would blend in. Because I feel like those taupey shimmers might go good with the Water palette. So let's see. And then we'll move on to like the Mariposas that they came in with last year, because I feel like the Air palette would be a good example of that. Okay, no, so none of these tones are working with the other two. So the Air and Water palettes don't match the cool tones over here, but the fact that this whole side could just blend in with that palette so perfectly and you couldn't tell the difference, to me says a lot. So this might be in the Main Chick side chick too. So I might have just found the rest of my 5 for the Main Chick side. Not Main Chick side chick, the 5 brands that do themselves video, because I'm telling y'all, I'm feeling like a lot of these are just repeats from the brand just because that's the color story they like. And I ain't mad at them. I like those color stories too, which is why I keep buying them from them like a clown. But you know, you might not want to be a clown like me. You might want to actually be informed and be like, yeah, I don't need that. So yeah, so the I would definitely say that I can see dupes for Fire and Air in here. So let's show those now. So as you can see right here, the middle row of the Mariposas palette, I feel like gives off a good amount of the fiery tones in the Fire palette, and gives off some of the tones in the Air palette as far as those coral tones and the purples go. So I'll show that one now. Again, I have to be careful with this one because I still haven't pressed it down. So if I don't show it at a perfect angle, my apologies. But girl, we're not trying to have the shadow pop out before I actually use it on my eyeballs. But now you see what I'm talking about? Like the purples in here, I feel like look similar at the bottom. And the corals are just a little bit brighter in this one than they are in this one. But again, they're still giving the same like situation. Now the greens, I feel like they're not actually giving the same as the what's that palette? As the Earth palette. I feel like they're giving more of like the Smoke Sessions vibe, if you will. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll show it to you just because I have it here. But you see what I'm saying? Like the greens in here are much brighter than in this one, and then the few neutral tones and taupees or whatever that are in there are similar. But I'm glad I'm not finding a lot of blue, but I feel like they don't do a lot of blue. I feel like they do more green and like purple and stuff like that, and it's showing in the fact that I can show you all these palettes that have those tones. Now we're gonna get into the Vita and Morte palettes, and then I swear I will be done, y'all. But it's been like literally like 10 or 15 minutes of me just sitting up here talking about palette comparisons. But that's how many palettes they have to similar to other palettes, to the point where I can make a whole video dedicated. What is that saying, girl? What is it saying? So again, I'm gonna go to the Fire palette with the Morte palette because I feel like it's giving the Fire palette again with a little bit of like cool tone. See what I'm saying? Like they choose a lot of the same tones, and it's definitely showing. I might delete timestamps for one, because girl, I'm getting tired of myself and we ain't even did the eyes yet. Lord, yes. Maybe I should just do a video with the comparisons and then give y'all a video with the actual palette. Next, I have my new Morte. So I'm gonna show you the water palette alongside my new Morte. I do have my old Morte as well though, but I feel like it's giving Morte vibes. Cause see, look at it. Hold this to the top. What do you see? I see the Morte palette. Sorry, let me hold it. See? What do you see? I feel like Marvin said, what do you see? What did he see? I see this same palette. So yep, we got, girl, I got my 5 main chicks, side chicks. And this is literally like way more similar to this palette than the other ones I showed y'all. So now you see what I'm talking about. Like you don't have to buy this palette if you don't want to, because I just showed you several alternatives to this same palette. So just keep that in mind with your purchasing, girl, because $38, I mean, I know it's a cute little $38, but depending on if you want all of them or if you are a makeup collector of Melt, like that can get pretty expensive, because I think it cost me like $200 some odd because I went ahead and bought the bronzer to try for you all in the video as well. But you know, like that was like $2 something just on these 4 little palettes. So just keep that in mind. And we're gonna get into the eye portion of the video now, or I might just cut it off here because I feel like this was a long comparison. Matter of fact, I'm gonna cut off here and do y'all a comparison today, and then Saturday I'll give y'all all the eye looks, and then Sunday we'll do Pat McGrath. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful with your purchasing when they finally do drop it on their website or when it comes back to Sephora. Remember, y'all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.